Hi, I'm really, really excited and very, very proud to have my son Hugo here in the studio with me today.
Hello.
Neurodiversity is something that I spend an awful lot of time talking about and trying to raise awareness of. And it's something that Hugo is passionate about as well. Hugo, you have written for your school paper about neurodiversity and the importance of raising awareness of this. Is this something you think's really important that people know about?
Yes, I think there's no doubt about that, to be honest. I think if you think of everyone it's almost like different glasses. If you kind of don't have that lens, your vision is going to be blurry and you're not going to see the full story of what's going on. For example, what might come into focus is, I don't know really, maybe there's a train leaving the station and you think it's your train because you can't see the other train in your peripheral vision. And so you think it's your train and then and so you leave the station and you go, oh, I missed the train, I'll have to wait for the next one. Even though your train was on a different platform and it was just blurry over there. And so you thought the train in focus was the one. But it's a bit like if you had those glasses on, then you would be able to see both of them and then you'd think, oh, actually I need to get on that one instead. And I think it's a similar concept with neurodiversity. If you see everything as normal, like those trains, you saw them both as two, you'll almost ignore the neurodiversity, and then that will stop that person from getting help when they need it. And but if they had those glasses on, they'd see that the person was neurodiverse and that they might need a little bit of help here, or a bit of help with organisation, or a bit more help with reading, or something like that.
Okay. Why do you think it's important for people to understand what neurodiversity is?
I think, well, if you don't really understand it, then you're not going to be able to accommodate people's needs.
Okay.
I think, as if you don't really understand it, you say, oh, that person has dyslexia, that person has dyspraxia. Sure, why not? I don't know what it is, but I guess I can help them with this. I guess I'll help. It's like you might be helping them with the wrong thing if you don't really understand. Like, if you misunderstand dyspraxia, you might think they need help with reading or something like that. I mean, they might, but chances are they're probably more likely to need help with organisation.
Okay.
And so if you don't understand what that neurodiverse condition is, I say condition, but then you're less likely to be able to give them. You might give them help, but you might not give them the right help or something which they need.
Okay. Well, look, so anxiety and depression is something that I suffer with and I talk about quite a lot. That's part of neurodiversity, isn't it? You have dyspraxia. Do you want to explain to people what dyspraxia is?
So dyspraxia, it's kind of hard to explain because everyone's is different. I personally struggle with keeping myself organised and on track of things. For example, remembering things, not leaving things behind, kind of doing everything on time. I struggle with that quite a bit. Strangely enough, I find it very easy to find my way around the London Underground, but I find it really hard to look for my shoes in the morning. And it also affects your coordination, so not everything kind of feels quite straightforward when you're with movement. You might struggle in PE, for example, because you just can't get your body to do the thing you want it to do and be able to multitask with everything.
And so how does that make you feel when people are putting pressure on you to do something in a certain way, but you're struggling to do it?
Well, from my point of view, I just laugh at myself. But from other people's point of views, I can imagine that they'll feel quite upset or left out if someone didn't understand and they felt a lot of pressure, for example, in something like PE. Whereas if I was in a PE lesson, because I've kind of been diagnosed for a couple of years now, I kind of understand it. or I just laugh at myself. I can't catch the ball, and I just laugh, and everyone's like, Hugo! And I'm just in fits of giggles. So, yeah.
How do you plan during the week to help you with your dyspraxia?
So I've got a colour-coded timetable, so I don't have to put I don't have to process the subject it says on my timetable when I'm packing my bag, and just look at the colour and think, oh, that's biology, oh, that's chemistry, that's history, blah 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 blah. And so I also have a homework timetable, so I can keep track of my homework and its deadlines. And so I keep it all kind of planned out, written down, just something to take it off of my mind, and just so I can look at it rather than having to remember it up in here.
Okay. I certainly know from, when Mummy and I were going through the diagnosis with you, an awful lot of things for us sort of started to make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas perhaps we'd unfairly put pressure on you previously, not understanding the condition. Do you feel that you were liberated or frustrated at all when you had it explained to you that it was something that you were trying to live with?
Well, with you, it's quite similar. Everything started to make sense and fall into place. Like, I remember back when I was in reception, each day for PE we would dress our chair, so we'd put our jumper on and put our trousers on the chair, and I always found that quite hard, getting it through the legs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't colour in the lines for the first 6 years of my life. Everyone else was able to do it, and they were always like, why can't you colour in the lines? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I found out I had dyspraxia. I learnt a bit about it through the diagnosis, and when we were doing the diagnosis, actually, I realised, oh, this is all the stuff which I used to struggle with. And then everything kind of made sense, and I was like, well, that's good, actually, because it's not like, now there's kind of a reason, if that makes sense. I'm not saying that everything has to have a reason, but it made me not wonder why I struggled.
Okay. In terms of neurodiversity, there is still some people who stigmatise it, right, and still see it as a stigma or a weakness, and therefore it discourages people to be open about it. How do you feel about that?
I think that with those people who kind of see it as a weakness, I think that actually the best thing you can do is be open about it, because if you're more open about it, they're more likely to understand it. If you talk about the positives of it with them, like creativity, empathy, stuff like that, they're more likely to understand it. So I'd say, don't kind of shy away from it if there's someone who sees it as a weakness. Kind of tell them about it. It doesn't have to be like, go up to them and say, I have dyspraxia, this affects me in this way, and this way, and this way, and this way. Just not subtly, but just at any opportunity you can where it makes sense, I would just try and let them know.
Okay. And just one last question. What would you say to people who have a neurodiversity but who are nervous about exploring it or talking about it?
Well, I think, and this may seem a little bit brutal, but I think that actually you shouldn't be nervous, because if you're nervous about it, then you're not going to be able to say to people, I need help with this. I think the best thing you can do is explore, and you should never shy away from it. Even if you're a bit worried about kind of learning about it, if you have it and thinking, oh no, this might be wrong with me, I don't want this to happen to me. It's, say you've got dyslexia, you might struggle with reading. There's no avoiding that. So just learning about that, and just kind of thinking about it, exploring it, I think that is the best thing you can do. Just find out more, because then you can make other people even more aware.
Okay, well look, thank you so much for coming in.
No
Listening to you talk, I'm sure will help an awful lot of people, and I'm very, very proud of you for coming in and talking to us today.
Yeah.